100% of my work in Ruby and Grails, and every now and then, occasionally, have to write a Java class, but that's an exception. And actually, the current project that I'm concerned with started with an email. Dear Mr. Koenig, I've just read your book. I need you for my next project. Which was like the best email that I've ever got in my commercial life.
Everybody writes books about Ruby, right?
That was really nice, and it's a very nice project. So that's kind of the thing. There's no longer need for sneaking it in somehow. I guess it's so widely accepted that you can speak up and say, let's do that in Ruby. Actually, there has been a poll recently from the biggest IT magazine in Germany, asking all the Java shops what other languages they do besides Ruby, and 30% of those said they do Groovy, and all the other languages together were less than 10%.
Wow.
And that's quite a big part of the pie.
Yeah.
It may be special in Germany, but I feel it's becoming mainstream.
Yeah. So you're the testing group, right? So we just want to ask you what's going on actually in the Ruby testing space. Do you see any recent developments that you find worth mentioning?
I'm certainly the testing bigot.
So you're the web test guy, right? So you started web test, for example.
Yeah, so we do see a new testing framework popping up every week or so. But since recently, especially with EasyB, which is like behavior-driven development testing tool mainly driven by Andrew Glover, and which is very good, and it's not only for testing Ruby code, it's as well testing any other kind of Java-based code. And this is also true for the new kid on the block, the Spock testing framework, which is simply awesome and gives you a way of very concisely formulating the test. Very, very good DSL writing test. And Peter Niederwiese, who wrote the Spock framework and is now committed to the Ruby core already, has introduced something that is called power asserts, and which is now in the trunk for Ruby 1.7. We integrated those. And power assert is something that is absolutely awesome. If you have a unit test, you know all the assert statements, and if you have an assert statement like assert A plus B equals C, and if it fails, then traditionally you would have to write a long message saying, well, you know what, it fails, but A has had the value of whatever, and B has had that value, and C, the expected value was like that, and so on. Nobody would actually write this, or would be too cumbersome. Now, with the new power assert that people have in Ruby, you have something like, if it fails, you will see the expression was A plus B equals C. And then you have a line below the A saying A was 1, and below B saying B was 2. And A plus B, the line below, this was 3. And the line below C saying it was 4. And the equals saying false. Right? And you have this graphical output from the error message, which is absolutely awesome because it directly puts you to the point what was actually wrong.
Yeah.
And you don't have to write those lengthy messages anymore.
Yeah.
That's the thing that really sold me on Spock.
Yeah.
And now we have it in Ruby anyway, so you directly get it when you use Ruby.
So this is a Spock feature that's now integrated in the trunk on
Yes, exactly. For Ruby 1 itself.
Oh, fantastic. That's really good. Really good. So you said that you now code pretty much 100% Ruby, right?
Yes, exactly.
So have you had any pushback from clients related to any of the work? Like, is there still any resistance that you've encountered in that space, or you found, people obviously come to you for that work? So I guess
I don't get any resistance because they bring me in because of my knowledge in it, and they want me to do this. Every now and then there may be a developer at the client side who says, well, you know what, I would rather like to write my code in Java. And I say, okay, go for it, write it in Java. And my current project, for example, started like everything but me coding in Java.
Right.
took like 3 or 4 weeks, and everybody was programming in Ruby.
Wow.
Because they were simply seeing how different it is, what kind of code you can have. And meanwhile, nobody is programming in Java any longer in the project.
Wow. Yeah, that's a good testimony. That's a good story. That's a good story.
So, Scott, you're obviously also doing a lot of consulting, right?
Yeah.
So I would actually be interested in knowing, once you introduce somebody coming from another framework, like Java Server Faces, or Struts, or something like that, to Grails, what is actually the single most thing they value most about the Grails framework?
You know, what I really like doing is coming into a client, and what I'm trying to do now is sell more than just training, but do some really deep integration with them. So we'll come in on a Monday, if I'm there for a week engagement, and start gathering requirements for them. And we'll do a lot of the iteration zero type stuff, you know, set them up with Git and set them up with continuous integration and do a lot of those kinds of things. But as we're gathering the requirements, I'm in Grails right now, just following along. Okay, Grails create domain class, and you know, these fields and those fields. And if they haven't been exposed to Grails before, they're like, oh, that's interesting, but this is just prototype code, right? This is code that you're going to throw away. I was like, no, dude, you're paying me. I'm writing the app as we're sitting here. And so it's pretty incredible. So by the end of the week, you know, we've built a large part of their application just from having these kinds of dialogues.
Okay. Is there anything people struggle with? I mean, is there something they just, is it something that's easy to understand when you're coming from one specific framework or something?
Yeah, I'm interested in that too. Like, what's the most difficult? Like, what do you think people struggle with the most?
Like URL mappings in Grails, for example, or is it something else could be setting up your data store?
Yeah.
Doesn't sound too difficult, but is there something that
people
come asking you? Again, rapid.
So one of the things that usually happens, a lot of the projects I'm working on are porting like Access 97 databases to Grails, you know, so I mean, you know, there are these kinds of things. Struts 1 apps, you know, with handhold JDBC, and people really want to hold on to those old bad habits. You know, they're saying, well, yeah, I understand that this Gorm stuff is out there, but what if I need to write the SQL myself, and what if I need to really kind of manage these things? You know, there are a lot of people who are really kind of feeling, show me, these kinds of things. And so part of moving to Grails is really kind of letting go a lot of that. Just saying, you know, really trust the framework. It's doing those kinds of things and actually doing it very well.
Yeah, we were hanging out today with Ted Ewan at the Microsoft booth, and he was saying he'd spent some time with you porting the Microsoft Northwind database to Grails.
So at last, in an hour, we got a Grails app in front of a Northwind database, running on Windows, running in MySQL, I almost said MySQL, MS SQL, Microsoft SQL, and those kinds of things. And his reaction was the same thing. He kept saying, "Is that it? Is that it?" You know, everyone is expecting more if you come from a background like that. You know, you kept saying, "We can't be done yet." Yeah, we're done.
So part of the involvement you have is affiliation with No Fluff Just Stuff. You do a lot of stuff on that tour. Now, those guys have just announced a new conference that's coming up. Can you tell us anything about that? What's happening there?
Yes. So the first Groovy and Grails experience happened in 2007. Is that right? 2008. Yes, 2008. And the next one was just announced for October of this year in New Orleans. And it's really going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be going on concurrently with the Spring One conference as well. And Spring on Groovy obviously have always held such a close relationship. Groovy was announced, Groovy 1.0 was announced at the Spring Experience in 2006. So this will be happening in October of this year in New Orleans, and it should be a really neat experience. A lot of Groovy and Grails, a lot of Spring, a lot of cross-pollination between the two crowds.
So a big topic here is, of course, the cloud, right? And what can you tell us about Grails in the cloud? We obviously know there's the Google App Engine,